Start now. Good afternoon and welcome to episode 2 of our NXCAM webinar series. And today the focus is on what's new in NXCAM December 2020 release. So I will start by introducing who is going to participate. So Joe Taylor is a UK Siemens NXCAM and additive manufacturing pre-sales consultant. Steph Verossel is part of the EMEA Center of Excellence. He's also a pre-sales consultant on NXCAM and additive manufacturing. And myself, I'm part of the EMEA portfolio development team with a focus on part manufacturing. So I will display this slide again towards the end so you can have our contact details if you don't know us already. So just for those joining us for the first time, this is just a summary of our webinar series format. So they take place on a regular basis. We respect people's time. We know how difficult it is to get away from your day jobs. So we decided to make these sessions no longer than 30 minutes. And also for additional flexibility, we run a morning and an afternoon session on the day. There is also a playback available for those who have registered but weren't able to attend. There are also, we record previous webinar playbacks, so you can also access those. So if you want access, please let us know. Each session has a focus on a specific part manufacturing topic. Today is a more of a wider topic because it's on some of the new functionality introduced in NXCAM. The sessions are supported by Siemens technical experts. So again, today we have Joe and Steph. And the goal of these webinars is to share recommended best practices. And at the end, you'll have the opportunity to provide feedback on would-be topics that you would desire us to explore. And you can do this by completing a short feedback survey, which I will give you the link again towards the end. So let's start with the topic today. So again, we are exploring some of the highlights with the recent version of NXCAM released in December. So this slide, I want just to share with you that NX, it's a complete and single platform for offline NC programming of all type of machine technologies. This also includes measuring machines, post-processing, and with integrated NC code machine tool simulation. NX is also the platform for any emerging or new technologies, such as robotics that may be used for part manufacturing processes, as well as additive manufacturing. So any new technologies that are introduced, you are in the same programming environment and platform. So with this slide, I hope you realize that there are significant ongoing development efforts placed for every single release. In today's presentation, we've picked some of the enhancements in the December 2020 release. Today, we will be touching some of these new enhancements in terms of usability, milling, turning, and multi-channel simulation. So I would now hand over to Joe and Steph for the technical presentations.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. As Pedro mentioned, I'm Joe Taylor, pre-sales here in the UK. If you could just pass me control, Pedro, and I'll share the screen. Thank you.
I think I've done it.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, so today's webinar, we're going to be covering the new capabilities and enhancements that have come through in the latest release of NXCAM. I'll be focusing predominantly on usability enhancements around part setup in the geometry view and touching on the new multi-channel turning operations and some other enhancements around turning. I'll then pass on to Steph, who will continue the presentation. So we want to use a nice generic part here to put all the demonstration. So we're doing all our we're doing all our presentations on the same component. I'm going to use one of our out-of-the-box Sim 15 kits, which you should have available to you if you're already NX CAM users. And this will give us a nice setup that you can replicate yourselves and have a go with these new capabilities that are available to you. So just one place in the part, I'm going to take you through the first few user enhancements in the geometry view. Just tidy the screen up, turn the machine tool off, the chucks, devices, and we're going to go to geometry view, select the workpiece as normal, nothing has changed there. But then start looking at the enhancements around the automatic blank creation, particularly bounding block and bounding cylinder. And what you're about to see is the new interface for the bounding block and the new capabilities. So previously bounding block would automatically jump to the component and you could just put the offsets in X, Y, and Z. Now we can actually enter the block size, so 150 square by 400. And then what I can do is position the block either manually by dragging the handles in the user interface, or by specifying an offset on one of those vectors, so +3 on the front face. I appreciate that a bounding block is probably not what you'd use for a turn part, but we'll come on to the bounding cylinder in a minute. I just want to show you how we can now either specify the block to be saved as either a body in the part navigator or as a component. So you can see now a specified body. If we go over to the part navigator, you'll see we get a feature group, and in there we get the part blank and also a bounding box around the component. So we get the minimum part and the blank. So this is a nice enhancement that allows you to get visibility of the blank. But what I'll do is just reset that, and this time I will set the blank creation to component, and I'm also going to check the display PMI box, because this is really nice. This is going to really be able allow you to enhance your shop documentation capabilities and setting sheets, and you'll see why now. So yeah, we get a nice PMI output for the blank size, but also the offsets from the part. So here you can see the overall length of the blank, the part length, and the offsets, 3 mm on the front, 48 mm in the chuck. It's quite nice to have those visible. But you also notice that it's actually there in the part navigator as well, part of the assembly. That allows us to open it in modeling, and now we can make some changes to the blank. Maybe you've got some location pin holes, some dowel holes, some fixture bolt holes. In this case, I'll throw a few chamfers on, and that will seamlessly associatively update in the CAM session. So it's nice to have that control now over a bounding block, speeding up your setup creation. But anyway, this is a turn part, so let's jump back and we'll have a look at the bounding cylinder. Exactly the same as what you've just seen. A nice good to know here, if you're working in inch imperial bar, you can put the diameter in, just put IN at the end, hit enter, and it'll automatically convert it to metric for you. Again, we can put an offset for the front face, so 3 mm on the face of the part. And again, we can specify whether we want to output that as a body or as a component, and also display the RPW. So again, just to give you a quick overview of what it looks like in NX for a bounding cylinder. So some nice rich information there, good for the programmers, great for shop documentation, anybody else has taken a look at the setup. The next thing I want to take you through is how we've enhanced the work coordinate system placement. Traditionally, this was a manual task. You would have to snap to points or pick curves or edges, but now we've got the origin location, which allows you to specify directly on the blank or the part. We get this nice aligned view in the UI, so we can snap the cylinder to the same as in the dialogue. And as you can see, when I hover over the different positions on the UI, they highlight in the dialogue as well. So you can see I'm now snapping the coordinate system for different points. This is also available in bounding block. In fact, it's more there's more points and edges, center of faces, etc., to specify a bounding block, but also speeds up the process of specifying where your coordinate system is. So I've just snapped the front of the part. We can continue setting up our fixture offset in our coordinate system, and now we can get on and start programming the component and show off some of the new turning capabilities. The first operation I want to take you through is going to be the multi-channel new turn operation. I'm also going to take you through some optimized cut patterns, which you'll see there, and then I'm going to take you through a bit of the simulation of these operations as well. So let's take a look at the multi-channel turn operations. Some of you know this as balance turning or pinch turning. We program it in exactly the same way. So we open up the operation, we specify what we want to cut, and then we just hit this multi-channel dialog box, specify whether we want to balance, which is taking the same cut, sharing the cut between two tools and up in the feed, or merging the cut, which means we take alternate cuts between the upper and lower turrets. Then all you have to do is specify the tool you want to use on a lower turret. And in this case, because of facing, we want to leave a safety distance to the center line. We don't want both those tools meeting at 0. So the 10 mil offset means that the lower turret will finish 10 mil before center and the upper turret will finish. And that's it. When we press generate, that will automatically create our lower turret operation. All the syncing, all the extra effort that would have otherwise had to have been done manually through the sync manager has automatically been done for us. So if we jump into simulation now, obviously this is a multi-channel machine, so I can display both tool paths in our NC-driven simulation. And you can actually see all those weight codes are already there. I haven't had to do anything manually there. That's all been output from the new multi-channel turning operations. So let's start simulating this, and we can then see the 10 mil offset in the middle and how the two channels are synced up automatically. As I said, this is our out-of-the-box Sim15 kit, so anybody can have a go at this with their NX setup. Okay, so there's two tools coming in, doing their merge toolpath, and as we just slow it down, you'll see the lower turret comes away and the upper turret finishes that last 10 millimeters. Okay, I think you'll find that's a useful tool. Let's use the operation again, but this time let's do some OD roughing. Exactly the same, it's a self-contained operation, but we're going to hit multi-channel turning. This time use merged. As I said, we're going to share the depth of cut now between the two tools. And we've got some of the settings, so obviously pick our tool again, but now we need to look at a lead mode. So that's either a distance, a time, or how many revolutions before the second tool engages, the lower turret. I've done distance, so I can set 3 millimeters. And then again, if the rough turning goes to the center, we need to make sure that they don't clash, and that's so we put the 10 mil distance. Again, that second operation is automatically created. Again, the weight codes are automatically put out. So when we play the simulation, we'll see both tools coming together and start the balance turning toolpath. So hopefully you'll agree that this is quite an enhancement compared to previously having to go through and sync the two toolpaths and put the weight codes in. There you can see the 3 mil leads that we've got on the lower turret. And just a really nice, easy to use enhancement in NX, particularly for mil turn setups. Okay, so next let's have a little look at the optimized cut pattern. So this is all about using smooth linear rough cuts and our new bitangential in and out feed to give us uniform tangential cuts, allowing us to increase the feed and maximum material removal rates. So we're just using, again, a dedicated rough turn smooth operation. I've got a zigzag strategy, and I've just hit that use smoothing under the bitangential drop down. In there, you can see there's some parameters that affect whether the engage and retract moves are put together in that contiguous cuts, whether the inside radiuses, and of course, as I said, because of this style of toolpath, we can really start to ramp the depth of cuts and feed rate up. Obviously, using that neutral RCMT tool, we can only get so far into the geometry. So I've now picked a multi-direction grooving tool just to show that it supports multiple tool types. And again, I've used the bitangential smoothing to optimize the material removal rates. I use the same tool, just flipped it around and switched the tracking point to do the second side, just to show off a little bit of the flexibility in the mil turn capabilities. And finally, let's simulate and see how this cuts. And I'm sure you agree that it's quite a nice toolpath. I've actually seen this machine in live. It's quite a satisfying toolpath to watch. Really good for softer materials, aluminiums, where we can really whack the feeds and speeds up, but also good for difficult to machine materials where wear on the inserts, maybe if it's a nickel alloy with surface hardening, which causes chips and notches in the insert. Being able to use this style of toolpath really spreads the load and the wear over the tool to give us better material removal rates. Again, we can just see putting the tool trace on those nice engage and retracts and how it blends in and out of the material. So it really is a nice enhancement that we've got. Again, both of these operations will be available to you in the 1953, the December release. So that means you can open up one of these sim kits and have a go with it straight away. I'm just drawing to the end of my section of the presentation. We'll take some questions at the end. I hope you can appreciate the usability enhancements and how this is going to make programming for mill turning in any CAM sessions easier in the next CAM. So I'll hand over to Steph now to conclude the next portion of the demonstration.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So from my side, Stef Rosel, as Pedro said, from the Netherlands, supporting this webinar series for the UK. So let me start to do a couple of what's news in milling. First of all, if you look at the already existing planner mill, you see there is a fall apart cut pattern. And now looking into the cut pattern, you can see that we added there an adaptive milling cut pattern. And we removed the tragoidal. And so it's easy to change from a tragoidal to adaptive and change some settings like using the full depth of cut the tool can handle. And just generate, and you can see that it's easy to convert your normal planar mill operations to an adaptive milling cut pattern. The second thing, the next thing, what I want to show you is that copying and instancing or patterning operations was already possible with instances, but that was only in the navigator visible. Now the new thing is we can reuse already design features, design patterns, and make use of that. To show you, I delete this instances and just go into the pattern program group and just select here the pattern I want to use, I want to follow. And then all instances still there, only they stay in this program group. And so you have a new program group where that first operation, the planner mill, is in. And yeah, just let me hide this one. And then the only thing what you need to do here is to display the pattern. And all pattern, all toolpaths for the different instances are displayed. And of course, also here, you can just do some simulation. You can within process workpiece. So this is a nice enhancement. It makes it a lot easier to do patterning and don't have to do the patterning again. The next thing what I want to show you is in a multi-axis roughing operation was already there in the previous version, but now it's added with an adaptive cut pattern or cut type 2. So if you can see this, I'm going to show you what this is. It's a top-down cut pattern with an adaptive strategy. And you can see that the tool is moving around from the top to the bottom. What is also included here now is bottom-up cutting. Just like the 3-axis, you can now also do a cut pattern or the bottom-up cutting here. Just change some settings here. Finishing on the flanks, we have a new compare object functionality. So if you want to compare two different operations of the same type, you can just compare them. So select one, hit the compare button. You can see you can compare operations, you can compare program groups, you can compare tools. But in this case, I'm going to show you on the left side, side 1 operation, right side 2 operation, just compare them, and you can see the differences in. First, on the left side, you can change all the settings to match the side 2. So on the right side, it's grayed out. On the left side, you can just change them and match them with the second operation. Very useful if you manage and create new templates based on older templates and just want to match all the new functionalities in there. Just to show you that it's all matched up. It's side 1 and side 2, they're completely the same now. Just generate them and you will see that the toolpath will be exactly the same. And so on the left flank, right flank, you can see that it's completely the same. And of course the replay button, which is very helpful to quickly see what the tool is doing. The last thing what I want to show you is a mass edit functionality. So we have multiple operations you can select. It's in this case it's only two, but you can select multiple, and all in common functions or settings will be displayed here. You can change it once. I'm going to change here the constant step over for these two operations, and you just only have to do it once in the mass edit. And as you can see, just opening one of the operations here, you can see that it's set to constant, and in the second one it's the same, it's also set to constant. And so if you have 50 different operations where you have to set your cut pattern, it's just easy to do. Generate, and you can see that it's changed, it's up to date, and very useful, I would say. So that's what I want to show on the what's new. There's more, but still, this is what we thought was most useful for you all. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Steph. I don't know about you, but there's quite a few things that have come in the latest version that I know for a fact would have made my life easier when I was a CAM programmer. Particularly the pinch turning, balance turning, doing that would have been really nice.
Yes, what I from my time in the shop floor was thinking of is that 5-axis roughing. That's really nice operation. Would have had me a lot of time saved. To be honest, I tried this already on my mini 5-axis machine recently. So
superb. So we'll hand back now to Pedro. We've got some time for questions.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I still don't have control, so okay, I have control now. So if you could let me know when you can see my screen, please.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so all I want to thanks again, Joe and Steph. All I want to just to wrap up, and before we move to questions, is just to remind you that, of course, within this short period of time, we can't go through all the new developments. So we've picked a few, but getting back to the development subject in NX CAM, I wanted to highlight that our development teams at Siemens operate for quite a few years now, and what we call Agile Development. And this means that you do not have to wait for new functionality or enhancements until the so-called major releases. So every point release, you have immediate access to anything in terms of new strategies or new enhancements added. So any planned developments, once they are completed, and of course, including production testing at customers who form part of our early validation programs, they become immediately available within the next point release. In this slide, I just wanted to provide you with an overview of a set of materials that our NX CAM team puts together so customers can verify what functionality is new or has been enhanced for every single NX release, and enables you to make an informed decision on upgrading from the version you may be running at the time. So when you click on one version you may be particularly interested on the left-hand side, it will show you the areas where there's been some enhancements or new developments. And if you then select, for example, the content overview, that will give you a summary of all the topics for this release. You can then deep dive, and for example, if I'm interested in turning, I have a series of of materials with videos explaining what's been added to the version. So this is a very useful tool. And if you're after information on which release, a new functionality or enhancement has been introduced, please get in touch with us.